when we run this town. With your host T-Will, yeah, keeping it real. From the A to the screen, you can feel the thrill. Rolling with the classics, we're setting the pace. Highlighting the magic of our soulful space. Got the vibe, got the crew, making it tight. When the screen lights up, everything feels right. Grab your popcorn, let's make it loud. It's movie time, ATL style. Stand proud. From the silver screen to the hearts we steal. Every frame we capture is the real deal. Talking premieres, where the stars align. ATL views, yeah, they really shine behind the...
What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome, 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 movie fans out there. Hello, everyone. I hope everybody is doing well. I know I'm doing well. I'm here with two of my favorite people. I've got Mr. Dave Laparo here, and I got Mr. Jordan Burton here. And I don't know if you guys are lucky enough, but I work with guys that I just love working with, man. So can't wait to get into this today. We are talking about X-Men Dark Phoenix. Hey, gentlemen, should be loads of fun. Dave, how you doing, man?
Doing all right.
That's what's up. Jordan, how you doing, man?
I'm doing okay.
I mean, Jordan, it's been such a long time since I saw you, man.
I know, man.
Wow. I mean, so much.
What's it been?
5 minutes?
5 minutes?
I mean, whoa, man, it's been such a long time, Jordan. Gosh, man. Oh, wow. So yeah, we're here to talk about X-Men Dark Phoenix, and hey, man, should be fun. So without any further ado, gentlemen, let's get into it. This film was released. How did you put it, Jordan? June 7th, 2019, in the year of our Lord. Was the release date, right? Cast, director, and producer. The writer was Simon Kinberg, marking his featured directorial debut. He also produced it along with Hutch Parker, Lauren Schuler Donner, Todd Hallowell, who I guess produced Rotten Tomatoes. Oh no, I think that was in Rotten Tomatoes. Sorry about that. Sorry. Okay. Main cast: Sophie Turner as Jean Grey, James McAvoy as Professor X, Michael Fassbender as Magneto, Jennifer Lawrence as Mystique, Nicholas Hoult as Beast and Hank McCoy, and the score was done by Mr. Hans Zimmer. And I love me some Hans Zimmer, damn it. I don't care what y'all say. Hans Zimmer is the best soundtrack dude ever, and there's no discussion about it. And you know what else? It's 8:37 p.m., and Dave has not kicked my ass today. I saved that one just for you, Dave. Although he did kick my ass pretty bad. He's like 11-0 against me, so whatever. I have no bragging rights where that's concerned. He sunned me in Madden, okay? And it hurts to admit it, but whatever. But you know what? I will get him back. I will destroy him in bowling, just so you know. All right. Let's get to it, guys. This movie, I don't want to call it a flop, but it was kind of a flop. Okay? Which is sad because I really enjoyed the movie, right? I don't understand why it failed because I really enjoyed the movie, especially going back, looking over it again. I really enjoyed it. So I don't know what happened, but apparently it did not resonate with audiences as the net loss was 133 million. Now, guys, COVID was what, 2019, 2020? You guys think
it was
that
early 2020?
Yeah. I don't know if that had anything to do with it. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 23%, which is not good. Metacritic gave it a 43 out of 100. Cinema Score rated it a B-. Director Simon Kinberg openly accepted responsibility, calling it its failure on me. I really enjoyed the movie, but hey, man, I don't know, but for whatever reason, it didn't resonate with audiences. I don't. Go ahead, Jordan. You look like you're about to say something.
I worked at the movie theater in 2019, so that was. I could have not picked a better year to work at a movie theater. It was because I got free tickets. I got to see people's theater reactions to Avengers Endgame. I got to see everything in 2019. I saw this movie twice in theaters on top of going and cleaning all your popcorn on the floor for after the movie. All the people throwing drinks everywhere. That one person who threw up in that one theater that one time. I don't like you. I got to do all of that. I saw all of it. So I saw this movie. I even I remember doing ticket stubs for a lot of the movies, and we really just didn't give many tickets to see this movie. I might have seen the movie more than anyone else at my specific theater. In fact, that same week, I met one of the, I don't know, the higher up Regal. I met him that same week that this came out. Very nice dude. Like he was super nice. He didn't know the area. He's also not. He wasn't. I think he's from England. So he was just. He thought the theater was like over in like a random part of like our town, and I was like, no, it's in a pretty popular part of town. But he was a really nice dude. He was asking me about some of the movies, and this was one of the movies that I had just seen. So I talked to him about this movie. I was like, I liked it. There was some parts that I was iffy about. Over time, though, I enjoy this movie a lot more than I did initially. And I also think there's two specific reasons that this movie ended up not doing enough. The Fox acquisition by Disney, that ultimately rushed this movie to just come out of theaters. You saw little marketing because of it, because they just kind of wanted to throw it out there, which also, by the way, maybe if you're going to kill off a character, like by an actor, an A-list actress, like, I don't know, Jennifer Lawrence, maybe put her in the marketing campaign, because her not being in the marketing campaign, everybody knew she was going to die. That's all I saw for weeks before this movie came out was, all right, Jennifer Lawrence is going to die. We all know that. And another reason this failed is we already kind of already reiterated this similar storyline with X-Men The Last Stand, and a lot of people didn't really care for that, even though that technically performed well. We kind of already reiterated it with this, especially it's the same studio. Like, if Disney were to go and do this again, it would be very different because, I mean, people have some trust in Disney more than they did Fox at this time. So, there's quite a few reasons why this movie failed. I
felt like this movie was far better written.
Oh, yeah.
By leaps and bounds. Than the first, than Last Stand. Like it wasn't even close. But you know, it's one of the great ironies of life. The first one wasn't written well. It did well at the box office. This one was written very well, and it didn't. But to your point, if they didn't market it, you know what I mean. And there's also a little something that we'll get into at little known tidbits about this movie. With Jennifer Lawrence, because I think she was just over it. I think she was ready to go. You know what I mean? I think she was just ready to go. But hey, gentlemen, let's get into it. So let's get into the plot summary. All right. So movie opens with trauma from Jean Grey. Now, a little backstory. At the end of Apocalypse, we see Jean basically just lose it, because Professor X is getting pounded, by Apocalypse into a pulp. And he says, Jean, unleash your power. And we see a subtle hint of another presence as her power amplifies and she destroys Apocalypse. Now, I said this in the previous podcast. I'm going to say this one and this one. In no way in any universe would Jean Grey, without the power cosmic or the Phoenix, be able to do that to Apocalypse. Let's get that out of the way, okay? The Phoenix is a cosmic entity into and of itself. It is all powerful. It is all encompassing. It is all corruptive. It is the true personification of absolute power corrupts absolutely. Now, with that, yes, I would say she could have killed Apocalypse, but in that movie, she has not interacted yet with the cosmic entity. So I did like it and I didn't like it. I didn't like it because it's no way she would have destroyed him, but I did like it in that it was a perfect segue to this movie. That being said, story opens flashback to 1975 when a young Jean Grey loses control of her telepathic powers while riding in a car with her parents because she really didn't want to hear that song for the 15th damn time in a row. They were getting on her damn nerves, and she decided to do something about it. Her abilities cause a crash that seemingly kills both of her parents, and Professor Charles Xavier comforts her afterwards, telling her she now has a home at his school. What Jean doesn't know is that Charles blocks out the memories of her family's death to protect her, planting the seeds of future mistrust. And this is something that is a very integral part to this movie, and it is really going to pay dividends later. Gentlemen, Dave, let's start with you. Give us your thoughts on this first scene and what's going on here.
Yeah, I thought it was a powerful scene to start it off with the car accident and everything, and I think they really did that scene well.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, it went from one type of feeling to another one really, really quick. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna keep talking about this throughout the whole thing, but the writing I thought was phenomenal.
Yes,
especially with the writing did so much for so many of the characters in this movie. And when we were talking about this before we came on. That was one of the things that Jordan and I both brought up was the machine wasn't really behind the movie on this one.
Yeah.
And to be honest, and I remember when this debuted, and I think it debuted on HBO Max actually. I don't remember it debuting on because I know that Disney did the merger and all that, but I don't remember it being released. I'd have to look that up. Should have probably done that already, but
no, I think you're right. I think you're right.
I remember it coming out on HBO Max first, and I remember them marketing it better than the movie was marketed before it was released in the theaters. Because I honestly, I never saw it in the theater. I didn't see it until it's streaming release, and I was like, "Wow, is this good?" This was one of the better written movies, and when I looked at so in 2019, Joker was also released that same year. Mm-hmm. And you and I have talked about this, Terry, before, especially with the second Joker movie. I know that had horrible, horrible reviews. And again, my thing that I'm partial to is writing. Like, I'm not saying that the entire thing was fantastic or anything, mm-hmm. but the writing I thought was genius. Mm-hmm. In this movie, there was just so many things as we get into this, but the way they started it off with that accident and just like the tone that it set for the movie, I just thought that was great.
Agreed. Jordan, what did you do?
I know I just said this in Apocalypse, how in the scene with Magneto and how grounded it felt, but the first, and I had to pause it at exactly what time it was. The first 7 minutes of this movie are, outside of Logan, because that whole movie is grounded, is the most grounded I think we get out of the whole X-Men universe. You just feel like you don't feel like you're in this world-bending thing. You're seeing trauma. Like, if she didn't have her powers, mm-hmm. and you get into that accident, maybe she causes the accident in a different way. Like, I've seen movies where kids accidentally cause a car accident. That happens in quite a few movies for some mm-hmm. reason. And the kid feels like they're at fault. Mm-hmm. this felt like such a great way to write this opening scene, the opening parts, and introducing Xavier. You could tell by the hair that Xavier was like a lot younger. This was pre-apocalypse, obviously. This was this was years ago. It might have been after it's probably after Days of Future Past. And you can see he just wants to make her feel safe and at home. She doesn't by the time they get to the mansion, and she says she doesn't want to break anything, and he's like it doesn't matter, as long if you want to break something, like, go for it. Like, I don't care as long as you're happy. Like, he just wants to be there for her. And I think that ends up being his fault, maybe, is that he cares too much for people. He sees the humanity in people too much, and that ends up being his fault in this movie later on. But it's such a sad but beautiful way to start this movie.
Yeah, it is. It is, and it's interesting. Trauma and tragedy, I don't know that you can protect somebody from it. I just, because the truth comes out, right? So I'm gonna give you two examples. One, my dad had a stroke in 2019, a severe one that he never recovered from. My mother and I would have to care for him until he died unceremoniously in I believe it was April 13th, 2020. So first week he has the stroke. He has a stroke. He's in the hospital for about a week or two. I'm in there with him, and they release him. And the Friday that they release him, his mother dies. And my brother is back in town because Victor was leaving. My baby brother Victor was living in Texas then. So he's come home to Atlanta, and his mom died. And Victor and I have a very, I don't want to call it a passionate discussion, because we're both, it's a weird time, but it was a little passionate discussion, because my point was, if you tell him, Victor, you're going to kill him. If he had a severe stroke, he can't tell you what year it is. If you tell him this now, with the way he feels about his mother, you're going to kill him. But Victor's point, and watching this movie, I can't say he was wrong. I can't say it was right, but I can't say it was wrong. His point was, if you don't tell him, and he does find out, he'll never trust you again. And he will have no chance at recovery, because he has to trust you in order to recover. So we ultimately told him, and ultimately he had a stroke the next week, and that's the one that sent him out. In that way, we were both right. We were both wrong. The point of it, and I'm not trying to take this in a trade direction, but the point of it is, in regards to trauma, in the immediate, right now, it was the right thing to do. When she became an adult, however, those chickens came home to roost. And ultimately, it led to where this thing went, if that makes sense, guys. And I'm not trying to belabor the point, but I wanted to make that. So we can move on. Cosmic Power Unleashed. Fast forward. So again, next scene, we see it's 1992. There's some sort of mission where they're sending folks up into space. And the X-Men are now global heroes called upon by the U.S. president to save the space shuttle Endeavour. During this mission, Jean absorbs a mysterious cosmic solar flare while protecting the crew. Miraculously, she survives, but the energy inside her massively amplifies her telepathic and telekinetic abilities. Now, this is one of the first times that we see on a mission Charles Xavier and Mystique really disagree on what they should do, right? So they're up in space, and let me take a step back. I love the way they use Nightcrawler, and Nightcrawler and Quicksilver together, magic. I love the way they did that. I love the CGI in that. I love the scenes in that. I thought they got an A+ for that. Just my thoughts. But essentially, in this in this scene, they have to go aboard this other ship. They got to get these astronauts. I think it's 6 astronauts. They go and get them, but the captain is in another sector of the ship, and this cosmic entity is about to envelop the ship. And you know, they're like, we got to go, and the astronauts are like, our captain, and they're like, there's no time. And Charles says, Jean can do it. Not that he's manipulating her, but he kind of manipulates her in that, remember, you can do anything, Jean, right? So there's this thing of, I don't want to know, I don't know if you call it arrogance, but I can't think of any other word in that, oh, we always succeed. We never fail. Right? They've told you there's no way we can get there and get back in this time frame. And Charles is like, well, Jean, you can do anything you put your mind to, which is either naive or arrogant, right? But this is laying the groundwork for the conflict that's going to take place later. Because ultimately, in my humble opinion, this is Charles's fault. I'm going to shut up now. I've been talking for way too long. Dave, Jordan, tell me your thoughts on this.
Yeah, so I think the push and pull and the conflict is like all throughout this movie.
Yeah.
This is kind of another example. I absolutely loved it because Nightcrawler has been one of my favorites too. I love how they use him in this movie. He has a great. We'll get into that later in the film. And that's another thing I was going to point out too. I think that the way cinema is today, there's like you've got movies and you have films. I think this is a movie that's more of a film.
Yeah.
And that it was more artistic as far as like the storytelling. Yes. And we kind of, I think it was right before this part when they were doing the flashback when she was younger. And he gives this analogy. I used to do this with people with an axe, same thing. But he told her, like, you know, you have a pen, you can write things with it, or you can jam it in somebody's eye. He's basically, so like, to your point, when you were talking about him being arrogant, I don't think it was so much arrogance. I think it was more like him driving home further, like, this is the kind of thing you use that gift for. Yeah. And now here's your chance. I think it was more along those lines than it was like arrogance or some type. And manipulate, I mean, by definition, is it manipulation? Yeah, it absolutely is. Like, you can manipulate people to do good, or you can, like, not all forms of manipulation are bad. You can manipulate, you know, you can do that for good, or you can do it for bad. In this case, obviously, it was for good. But and this is another one that I just thought was just so well written, and how they used Quicksilver. He's such a cool character. He's another one. Until they started making these newer movies I didn't know much about. He was such a cool character throughout this entire movie.
Yes.
When he gets in the end, he's like, oh, yeah, they helped a little. And he's just so cool throughout the whole thing. But this is another powerful thing that was, like, well written. And then, like, even when there was the one guy left who was on the ship trying to fix it, and they're debating, like, well, do we go back? Like, you know, and then they're like, no, we're not leaving anybody behind. And it's like, if they would have left, they wouldn't have been wrong. But if they stayed and they weren't wrong about doing that either. They're like, that just permeates throughout this entire this entire movie is all about that. And maybe that's why it got to, because it's a very polarizing movie. Like, if you look at certain things that happen and everything, and this is one that I think the order of the way that they did it, because obviously there's the thing that happens with Mystique later, but like they set it in more of like a positive light with this one, because the conflict ended up being resolved in a positive way because they didn't stay behind, and they ended up saving literally everybody, almost at the expense of more people and everything. So again, just another scene I thought was well written. This movie in general, I didn't see a whole lot wrong with it. I thought it was very well written.
Mm-hmm.
This was such a cool scene too, and how they ultimately decided, hey, we're staying and we're doing this. Thought it was awesome.
Jordan, what you got, buddy?
I mean, I love this scene because it feels like you just turned on an episode of X-Men the animated series, and they're going into space. They're doing a little mission. Like, I was like, all right, this is really cool. This is a great way to start a film. And I think you're both right with Xavier and talking about Jean. I think he's confident, but I think he's arrogant in a sense that who tests their powers in space to be able to do this? She's clearly capable of doing this.
Right.
We but I don't think she's there yet, and I don't think Xavier knows that, and that's where he was a little too arrogant with it. But he knows that she is capable of doing this. Is now the time? Well, clearly, yes, but at a certain cost. She could have very well died if that's just an explosion, and that, let's say, the Phoenix Force isn't even there, she's dead.
Right.
Like, there's no way of coming back from that.
Right.
So it's a little. You're both right in that sense. Like, there was a little arrogant. There was arrogance in terms of but he also was confident. It was arrogance and confidence in her abilities. She's clearly capable of doing such a thing, but at this time in her life, is she capable of doing it? It might be a little too soon. I mean, they're what? Are they even 21 in this? I don't even know. I mean, they're drinking out in the woods, but they go to school. They go to a school, but they're drinking out in the woods, and I'm like. And then
when do they graduate that school? Yeah. But anyway,
Beast and Mystique are like watching them, and they're like, "Yeah, we used to do this." And I'm like, "Wait,
is there?"
Was already teaching a class in the movie. I don't know if y'all caught that. She was already teaching a class. Yes. I don't know when the student professor thing shift. Like, I mean, do you get a degree? Is it a diploma? Like, is it accredited? Do it like where? What do you do?
I don't know.
Major in Newton economics.
I don't know. This is how you invent currency. I don't know. It's crazy. All right, guys, let's get on to the next one. So, truths are revealed. Tragedy strikes back at Xavier's mansion. Jean's powers begin to spiral. She loses control during a party, and when Charles tries to calm her, she uncovers the truth about her parents' fate and his manipulations. Betrayed, Jean flees to her childhood home in anger. Let me tell you something. It was done really well because he really is trying to protect her, right? But the problem is in the backdrop, he's experiencing success. Right. So the X-Men are they're these dudes, man. They're the it thing right now, right? They're it. They're the heroes. But in looking at this, I tell you what it reminded me of. It reminded me of that scene in Batman the Dark Knight where Batman is trying to get information from the Joker, and he's like, "Where are they? Where are they?" And the Joker's like, you hit the victim in the head. He goes all woozy. But he says, when they get tired of you, or when you do the wrong thing, they're going to come after you. They're going to look at you and come after you in the same way they do me. Right? So we are, and it's kind of like, we're seeing Charles in his heyday, and all of these things are happening, and he's the toast of the town, and the president is calling upon him until that one moment where a mutant gets out of line, and then he's going to find out their true feelings, right? And we're kind of teetering on the precipice of that here. Again, I love the way they do the scenes. I love the way that the CGI and the way that they did this. I just loved it. I thought it was a great scene. I also think this movie, and we kind of spoke about this in the last one, Jordan, but this movie kind of had a Carrie feel to it, right? Whereas, you know, okay, these powers are coming and I can't necessarily control them, and y'all might want to back up. I'm just saying, y'all gonna make me lose my mind up in here, y'all might want to back up. I don't know what I'm gonna do, right? I'm not gonna say it was to the level of Brightburn, but it had that feel to it, right? I'm gonna shut up now. I've been talking way too much. Dave, Jordan, give me your thoughts on this scene.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, this is where I'm gonna introduce Cyclops, because Cyclops has been the most polarizing character when it comes to the films versus everything else. Mm-hmm. Because I just don't think they've ever done him right. Mm-hmm. But in a movie where Jean Grey is the star, it makes total sense for Cyclops to be acting this way throughout the film, that he's this caring boyfriend, and he clearly loves her. And even during this whole scene where she loses control at the party, like right before that, he's like, he's asking Storm, he's like, do you think she's doing all right? And Storm's like, yeah, considering what happened. And like, he clearly knows something's wrong, mm-hmm. but he just doesn't want, he just wants to make sure she's okay. Right. And I think this is probably the best version of Cyclops in terms of being written. Agreed. I don't think it's the most comic accurate, because I mean, in terms of Cyclops, I mean, we haven't gotten anything comic accurate. He's supposed to be this leader of the X-Men, and we just mm-hmm. have never gotten that ever. Right. Right. But this is the Cyclops we wanted. This is the Cyclops we needed. And throughout the entire movie, he doesn't care what side he's on. I mean, he just so happens to be on the side with Professor X. But even then, he backtalks to Professor X and tells Storm, you can come with when they're going to save them. Like, he does not care. He wants to do everything in his power to make sure Jean is okay and to save Jean. And he does that throughout this film. And you see him care, and it gets to a point where maybe this part of the writing I didn't care for. Was I loved how he appreciated Jean in this movie, but I don't think it was reciprocated back very well. I don't think we saw Jean necessarily caring too much for him. She was like, she had this power engulfed in her, and it was just like, oh, hi, boyfriend. Hi, okay, I'm killing everybody, I'm losing my mind and stuff, but oh yeah, by the way, that's my boyfriend and stuff. Okay, I don't care. Doesn't listen to him at all. Like, normally in these movies, when you have someone like lose their mind, so all right, I just watched Naked Gun for the first time, the first Naked Gun movie. So we're gonna connect this movie to the Naked Gun.
Oh, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be. I can't wait.
The end of the Naked Gun movie. Spoilers for that movie if you haven't seen it. But it's been years. So when the main actress is like under mind control, and he's trying to talk to her to get her to snap out of it instead of killing him. It's almost like that. Like, he's trying to talk to her, but she's just like oblivious to him. She's like, she sees him, but she doesn't. I don't feel any sort of I feel a one-sided connection between the two of them, and I didn't see much care from her. I don't know. That's maybe me. I don't know if you guys felt the same way.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. That's one thing with their relationship, I think, that was a lot different than the iterations in the other X-Men movies. Is there was definitely more of a romantic element or like a love triangle with, you know, her, him, and Wolverine and the other ones, but in this one it just wasn't there. So I don't know if they because you know you know, like we talked about, it didn't do well in the box office. So I know there's a lot of people, because it's an action movie, you know, you got to appeal to those other audiences who like that romantic element. There was just none of it there. Like it was absolutely, there was nothing. There was no relationship in this movie that they could have been construed as like a romantic type of situation. And especially theirs. The only thing was when she says the line about, oh, I'll always come back to you, or there was something like that. That was like the one sentimental thing. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't necessarily romantic though. Like it was, you know, obviously like there was a, you know, you could see a bit of a bond, but it didn't, it just didn't really resonate like it was a real passionate romantic type of thing. But for this particular part, it's a difficult situation. And this is something where, like, again, this is more, you know, like push-pull, like who's right, who's wrong, like when would have been the right time to tell her? Is there a way he could have told her without something bad happening? Because at the end of the day, like, you lied. Yeah. You lied. She doesn't know every angle of it like he did at the time. So, like, what is the best way? So, again, another thing. This movie was just written and done so well. I did not get a whole lot wrong, to be honest.
It was. Guys, I'm going to disagree here. And I'm going to disagree. Number one, they're very young. They are very young. This is a very young iteration.
Are they? We don't really know.
Right, yeah.
Are
1
they
second they're attending class, then they're professors. So we don't know. We don't know.
Are they in 7th grade, or are they teaching a whole college class?
I don't know. I know they're young, right? So because in most iterations of this story, they're not this young. In most iterations of this story, Scott and Jean are much older and they've gone through a lot together. That's number one. Number two, I think she's protecting him. I think she knows, because you got to understand, she had a premonition in the previous movie that she was going to destroy the world. So this whatever is her worst nightmare coming to life. That's number one. So I think a part of it is, this is the one person I don't want to hurt. I want to protect him from this. The other thing is, he's just coming off the loss of his brother. So he is following her around like a lost puppy, but he's vulnerable. He's incredibly vulnerable, right? That was the one thing. The other thing was, in regards to Charles protecting Jean, there's no right time to tell her. Okay, I can tell you from personal experience, when you lose a parent, you're going to blame yourself. No matter what. No matter what. I blame myself for my mother's death, and that's just something I got to live with, right? My mother stopped taking her medication. I did not clock it. And, you know, again, my brother tells me, bro, if she hadn't stayed with you, she'd have probably been gone 2 or 3 years prior, but that doesn't help me sleep at night, and that's my cross to carry. But if somebody took that away from me, and I then found out like 5 years later, I'd be pretty mad. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I'd be upset, right? Even if you were trying to help me, I'd be upset. So I get it. I get where she's going. And to your point, Dave, there's really no right answer. There's no wrong answer, right, but there's no right answer, right? It's kind of one of those paradoxes. So let's go on to the next scene. Fracturing of the X-Men. I thought they did a really good job of this. I thought, because this is absolutely what would happen when something like this occurs. This is 100% what would happen. In the film's most tragic moments, the X-Men attempt to confront Jean at the house. And at this point, I would say the Phoenix is driving the car. Okay. Jean is just a passenger. Hey, can you turn left? Oh, okay. That's okay that you didn't. Now the Phoenix isn't just ignoring her, but the Phoenix is driving the car. Okay? Just keep that in mind if you have not seen this movie. Spoiler alert, it's about to get real. So X-Men show up at the house. They're trying to confront Jean to kind of, hey, come on back or whatever. And Jean is having none of it. Okay? This is her coming out party. I'm going to do what I want to do. Charles, you can't control me. You can't keep me you're not my real dad. Okay? Jean's power erupts uncontrollably. Now, here's the thing. Her power erupts when the Phoenix feels threatened, it acts. And it acts independent of the host, right? So when she says, this is another reason why I feel like she's trying to protect Scott. Because she doesn't know what it's going to do. And she doesn't know how far it's going to go. And she can't control it. At least not now. In the chaos of this, she accidentally kills Mystique. This death fractures the team. Beast blames Charles, Cyclops grieves, and Magneto vows vengeance. And that's absolutely what happened. Funny story about this. Jennifer Lawrence was so done with this, she insisted on being killed early. That's why she was killed so early in the story. Because I don't know what the beef was behind them. And maybe, Jordan, you can shed some light on that. But she insisted the only way she would come back for this film was if she was killed early. Right? So before we step any further in this, Jordan, you got any other information we can talk about that and what was going on in real life with Jennifer Lawrence and Fox to cause this?
I mean, there probably is a multitude of reasons why she didn't. At this point, she's been Mystique for 9 years since X-Men First Class. In terms of makeup, the makeup has changed. Some of it's been CGI. Some of it's just been all this makeup added to her. I mean, Rebecca Romijn is filming Avengers Doomsday right now. She's getting the whole makeup treatment that she got from the original X-Men trilogy. And I'm like, I feel bad for her. I feel bad for these people who have to put all this makeup on. It looks cool in some movies, and some of it doesn't look cool. But and that's where they were able to, like with Kelsey Grammer's Beast, they're CGIing him, but it looks really good. I can't wait to see this.
Yeah.
So I'm sure the makeup had to do with it. The Fox acquisition from Disney was like pretty much canceling anything X-Men. I'm shocked that after this movie, we ended up getting more X-Men movies with Deadpool and Wolverine. Mm-hmm. We ended up getting the New Mutants, which we'll get to that when we get to that.
do we have to get to that though? Do we have to?
Technically, it's in the same timeline as Logan.
God. I'm gonna need some liquor.
That's the second to last movie that we have to do. The last one's Logan, because that takes place like way down the road.
I'm still gonna need some liquor. I need lots of liquor.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons. So she felt like at this point in the franchise, maybe she didn't want to do superhero movies anymore. At this point in her career, she's done the Hunger Games franchise and the X-Men franchise. And since she left both of them, she's been in movies, but very different style movies. She's been in a horror movie. She's been in a really graphic comedy. She's been a lot of very different style movies here and there. So it's possible she just wanted to get out of that. So yeah, there's probably a lot of reasons. But look, if you wanted to kill her off, at least ask her to do some marketing campaigns, because the fact that she wasn't in any of the marketing campaigns and she wasn't in many of the trailers, everybody. When I went into this movie, I'm like, all right, so she's gonna die, but it's just a matter of when. Everybody knew it, and it sucked because it's just the timing. This death felt like, wow, you're going to kill her off, especially since the last few movies before this, because it's Jennifer Lawrence, the Mystique Raven character got put on this totem pole that I've never seen the character put on in any source of media before. That's all because it's Jennifer Lawrence. Jennifer Lawrence is a fantastic actress, A-list actress. She's one of the best actresses in Hollywood. But she shouldn't have been cast as Mystique. Like I was saying in the Apocalypse stream, it would be like casting Timothée Chalamet, who's arguably the best up-and-coming or active actor in all of Hollywood right now at a young age, casting him as, like, I don't know, Iron Fist. Like, it's just so, like, of all the characters you could pick for this really good actor, Iron Fist or Hawkeye. Like, what? Really? So, yeah, Jennifer Lawrence was too big in my opinion, she was too big for the X-Men as a whole. I don't think she should have been casted in the X-Men movie. She was too big of an actor to be in this universe. I mean, she should have probably asked Disney if she's got any roles for her in that. But yeah, there's a multitude of reasons why this, like, behind the scenes led to this issue.
Dave.
Yeah, I think it's a combination. It's a combination of things. One thing that stuck out, because she said it numerous times about the issues with the and not just putting the makeup on, but you got to understand, like, she's breathing that stuff in, like, all the time, everything. And plus, not only that, but like Jordan was pointing out, in anything, whether it's athletes, whether performers of any type, when they get to a certain point, you're working your way up, right? Mm-hmm. Then you get to where you want to be, and then, like, you get that FU money or that FU status, and you're like, I'm gonna do what I want now. Yeah. And that's not, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And I think she was just at that point, like, what am I doing? Like, I don't need this. They need me. I don't need them. Like, I totally get it. I thought she did a great job, but and as far as this scene goes, like, even this scene, so just the little things they did with this scene, again, phenomenal writing. When she's getting ready to die, you got, like, the shock factor, because, like, you can see it on her face, and she's like, I can't catch my breath. And that just stuck out to me, because I was like, that's a very natural death scene. Like, and I hope, like, people haven't experienced this type of thing firsthand so much, but just that right there, I'm like, that's a very real, like, that's one of the more real death scenes I've seen out of an X-Men movie and everything. Like, if something like that happened, that's more along the lines of the type of reaction that you would get. Even that, I thought, was written really well. The only gripe I had about the whole thing with them killing her off is, number one, they did it early, but I would have liked to have seen her do something big before that ended up happening. Yeah. And they really didn't. It was kind of like they kind of, like, buried her. It was almost like maybe they were bitter because they knew she was out. So it was like, okay, well, we're going to make your part flat, and then we're going to do this here. And that's it.
We're going to give you what you want.
And not the right move. Not the right move at all. Yeah. You have somebody, obviously, who's on like, top level as far as Hollywood is concerned and everything. You should have really milked it. If you're going to do it in the first few minutes of the movie, then whatever, do it in the first few minutes, but milk it and, like, really build her up until that point. And they just didn't do that. That's really probably the main complaint I have about this movie is there was no build. There was really no build. It's like, she's there, they're talking, and then boom. Like, she had no, like, key scene at all. Like, it was just that, and that was it. But the death scene I thought was very natural and very realistic. I thought that was done really well when they did get to it.
I think they tried to make one specific scene as her scene as to, like, why killing her off made sense, but it just didn't work well and it fell flat. Was her argument with Charles. The whole, all the women do all the saving around here. We should probably change the X-Men.
Yeah, that was a shot at the patriarchy for real. Just saying.
I want to say. I want to say this, and I'm gonna try and tread this lightly. I support everybody. I was raised by a single mother, and my own mother watched this movie, and she's like, "This was stupid." So I will say this line, especially because it makes totally no sense whatsoever, because the women and the men, everybody's saving everybody, especially when you follow up Apocalypse, when everybody was saving everybody, like everybody was doing such a crucial part in that movie, and same thing with Days of Future Past, that I mean, it's hard. I don't know. I'm gonna tread lightly on that. It just didn't make a lot of sense. It fell flat, and you could tell it fell flat because most people, when they watched her death scene, felt a little flat.
Yeah, I was gonna say because that came not long after she said that.
Yes.
And I'll talk about the line. You know, it is what it is. But yeah, I think the X-Men in general, if you're looking at, you know, patriarchy, matriarchy, all that kind of stuff, X-Men does a great job of, it's about everybody. Like there's really no, I mean, it has a lot of undertones. And to me, like, as somebody, because I worked with like the disability community for years and years, a lot of the undertones with the X-Men in general is like people fearing things that are different, or you know, there's so much of that, and so like, yeah, when she says that line, it really is out of place. It was out of place.
It's off brand.
To me, that was like what I'd like to call an overcompensation line, where it's like when you have situations that are controversial, right? You know, and you talk like with patriarchy, and so whenever you touch on things like that, people, you know, get very passionate one way or the other about that. So then it's like a lot of times they'll write things to overcompensate for that. Right. They'll be like, yeah, well, we want to show them that, you know, the women have, or you know, we want to show them that this group has. It was like an overcompensation line to me. Like it was kind of cute, but like it was out of place, and the timing of it versus what happened to her was just awful. It was. Yeah. I didn't even think about that till you brought it up. But yeah, to me, that was like an overcompensation line.
The line when I heard it the second time I watched, it was kind of funny because I was like, what the hell? Like, I just kind of out of left field, like, what? You know what I mean? But, you know, again, with that being said, the X-Men have a history. The X-Men is all about differences.
Right.
That is baked in the origin of this. As a matter of fact, Charles Xavier, the catalyst or the motivation for his character was Martin Luther King. The motivation for Magneto was Malcolm X. And even if you look at the X-Men storyline, it was about acceptance and differences and fear, right? It was a human thing going on with that. I felt like the death scene was powerful. Because I knew at that moment when she died, shit was about to get real.
Yeah.
I knew Beast was gonna go ham. I knew he was gonna blame Charles Xavier. I knew the whole thing. But you know, we gotta go. We got a lot to discuss. So let's get into the alien intrigue here. Oh, your favorite character, Jordan. The Dabari arrived. The Dabari are a foreign race.
You made that up. You made that name up.
The Dabari. The Dabari. You know what? There's no joke that I have that I'm not even going to do it. I want to do it. I really want to do it, but I'm not going to do it. So anyway, I want to do it so bad. The Dabari arrive. Meanwhile, a race of shape-shifting aliens called the Dabari arrive on Earth, led by Jessica Chastain, who Jordan loves, by the way.
Wait, what's her name though? What's the name? What's the name of the character?
Vuk.
Vuk? Yeah.
Vuk.
All right. I'll get to my point. You keep going.
Okay. They reveal that the cosmic force inside Jean is the Phoenix, a power that destroyed their home world. Vuk seeks to harness Jean's power for herself. Vuk, or whoever the host was, I forget her real name or whatever, but she's sitting around with the family. They're having dinner. They're having a good time. And what's weird is, if me and my wife and the family are sitting around and I hear a dog, I'm getting up. I'm not going to have my wife go and investigate it, right? Or my daughter. I'm getting up, right? But that's just me. Whatever. No judgment. So she goes to investigate this mysterious noise, and the homies roll up on her, and I guess they take over her body or whatever. We don't see her body, but apparently they kill her and shapeshift into her form. We don't know that they kill her. We're assuming it. But thus begins the plight of the antagonist in this film. Jordan, as you've been so patiently awaiting, please tell us your thoughts on this matter. Please regale us.
I'm going to start off by saying the initial plans for this movie and when this movie was written were to have Skrulls in this, but this movie was coming out the same exact time frame as Captain Marvel, which also had Skrulls in it. And the ownership of the Skrulls ends up going to Disney. So it was Disney's yes or no for Skrulls in this movie. They said no. So they had to go with another route. So they went with the Dabari. I know nothing about the Dabari in the comics. I've never heard of them before. Vuk, I've heard every different possible pronunciation for that. I've never heard of this character. In my opinion, every Marvel or DC movie, this is the single worst antagonist ever. I didn't know, and I've watched other streamers and reactors and people who do this for a living, like write reviews for a living, who are like, I don't even remember who the main villain's name was in the movie, because I don't even know if they even say their name at all. It's just so forgettable. If this wasn't Jessica Chastain, and this was just some other actress who we don't know, it would be even worse because everybody knows who Jessica Chastain is. Everybody knows who Jessica Chastain is because she's been in a lot of great movies. And even though I'm not a huge fan of her, but that has nothing to do with this character. If this was anyone, I just would be like, this is boring. They had to figure out a way to put an antagonist in this. In my opinion, I think if you took the antagonist out, you could find a way to write this without the Dabari and make it compelling, because the compelling part was seeing the two sides fighting with one another, similar to Captain America Civil War. Seeing those two parts fighting with one another, in the end they came together, which is very different to Captain America Civil War, where they were just, by the end of the movie, they were fighting one another and it ended up splitting up the Avengers. With this, by the end of the movie, they come together because they realize, oh, it's not Jean, it's this alien race. And like Charles is like, what are you? I can't read your mind. Yeah, I don't. Yeah. Oh, you're clearly you're clearly an alien. I don't know. I don't think I can think of a worse villain in a movie or show that I've ever seen of Marvel or DC. There might be an animated, because if you count animated for DC and Marvel, there's a lot of content, different villains, different episodes. So there's probably some forgettable ones in there, definitely. But when it comes to like live action movies and shows, I just I don't think there's a worse one than this.
All right. So to those of you who think that I'm not a Marvel nerd, okay, or a DC nerd, I have a Marvel encyclopedia. Thanks to my wife, who I love with all my heart. I believe Kimberlyn Wilson is the only woman in the world that could or would love me. And well, there you go. So, she bought this for me, right? I say that tongue in cheek, but she bought this for me along with the DC Encyclopedia one Christmas. And I think it is great. I love that woman. Every time I look at this, I love that woman. But I bring it up not to say wonderful things about my wife, but to say the Dabari are not in here.
So I don't, yeah, I wouldn't have known that if they were, but another thing I think that was good about the writing is the emphasis was heavily placed on the inner turmoil. So I was lost in that story.
Hang on one sec, Dave. So you guys don't think I'm BSing. This is Dark Reign, right?
Right.
And then immediately after that is Death. There's no Dabari in here. So
Death is better.
And this, I got this between 2014 and whatever. So to George's point, they made this shit up, man. I don't know who these people are. They ain't from the Marvel universe. They're not. Okay? I'm just saying. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead, sir. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I definitely didn't get them as like the focal point. I mean, I was lost in the other, the inner turmoil with the team in general. What they do, I think, as an antagonist, though, is it kind of highlights that, like, while everybody's stuck on differences of opinion on certain things and all that, they were kind of like a greater threat that loomed, at least, in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
So I think that's an element where, like, the writers were just like, well, let's focus on the inner turmoil. That was the right call, because I have no idea who these things were. They really didn't have a shining moment until the train. When we get into and that train scene is phenomenal.
It was
that whole thing from beginning to end. I forgot how good that was, and they were cool there. But like, it didn't really stand out to me as an antagonist. But to me, it was like, it was kind of like the iron and clay thing, where it was like, you got half of the team going this way, the other half going this way, but then it's like, but we got bigger problems right now.
Yeah.
And then there was still a certain degree of unity. Like, that's what I got out of it. I knew nothing. I had no idea what her name was, other than that she was Jessica Chastain. But I had no idea what the character's name was. Didn't even know what they were called. I just knew that they were, aliens that were just impervious to just about everything except being disintegrated.
No, I agree. I think that was intentional. I think a part of them being like window dressing was intentional because, and to me, the real villain is the Phoenix, right? This story is about the internal struggle of, now I can't think of having a senior moment. What's her name? Help me out.
Jean Grey.
Thank you. The main character of the story, T. Will. But it's about her internal struggle, right? It is the internal struggle of good and evil, of self-discipline. The true enemy in this movie is the nuclear war. No, I'm kidding. That was from Crimson Tide. Just kidding. Just shout out to Denzel and Gene Hackman. Love you, Gene. No, but the true enemy in this movie is the Phoenix itself, right? Because so that's number one. You couldn't have had the Phoenix and Thanos. You couldn't have had the Phoenix and a very reputable enemy, because the X-Men would have got their ass kicked. Look, they just got through fighting Apocalypse. So it makes sense that you would kind of have this B villain, maybe a B-level villain. Can we call him a B-level villain? You know what I mean?
Maybe like a D+.
CD level. I mean, they're not street level. You know what I mean?
I've never gotten this grade before in high school or middle school or elementary school or college, but F tier.
Wow. Wow.
If you can't find them in an encyclopedia, that's not even a tier. Like you're almost making them up. And
I did make them up.
I've seen reaction channels saying who these people are. They go through like little Easter eggs throughout the movies. But they don't touch it. What's crazy is this reaction channel is a big reaction channel who dives into layers and layers of villains and Easter eggs and stuff like that. They touch on the villains for maybe a minute because they're like, they don't really have much that's done. So I wouldn't even like to put this in perspective. Before the first Iron Man came out, the average person put Iron Man in C tier, mainly because he wasn't anywhere on Spider-Man's level, and he didn't have that great of a rogues gallery to be in a B level, so he's often compared to a C level. Which now Iron Man is an A tier. Everybody knows who Iron Man is. You can go on the street in New York City and ask, "Hey, do you know who Iron Man is?" Most people will say yes. If you go and you pull a list of 10,000 people in every single state and ask them, who the heck are these people? You're not going to get a single person who knows who that is.
So I just looked it up. They actually appeared in the 1960s in Avengers and then later in Uncanny X-Men. So they actually are part of the lore. Although they didn't make your encyclopedia, they are in fact part of the lore.
It's Marvel's encyclopedia. It's not mine.
Yeah, but I have a DC encyclopedia.
I do too.
And that one I know for a fact does not have every single character in it too. So I mean, it's not like an end all be all. But either way, they're definitely a lesser known antagonist for sure. That's well established.
Oh wow. So they're not the cool kids.
No.
Okay. All right. Struggle for control. Jean seeks refuge with Magneto's mutant sanctuary. She has to feel guilty after killing who essentially was one of her heroes. She's got to feel guilt. But as we see that the Phoenix is subtly taking over. Because as this thing goes on, especially when she arrives at what is kind of a makeshift Genosha, she gets bolder. she gets bolder. So the Phoenix is taking over. Magneto fears her destructive potential. I think what's really funny is when she's like, you protect mutants. He's like, I am from you. I thought that was funny. Like, I don't know if y'all laughed, but I thought that was funny because that's absolutely what I was thinking. Like, oh shit. Like, bro, it was getting to the point she's killing people like it's like, move out of my way. Like powerful mutants, right? But again, Fassbender, man. I just love his portrayal of Magneto. I think he was born to play this role. I'll just put it that way. She shows up. He's he again is trying to build his life, right? Because he lost his wife, he lost his daughter in front of him. He's trying to rebuild his life. He's trying to rebuild a safe haven for the mutant community. And here she comes with her bullshit. And she shows up at his door and he's like, no, don't. And he talks to her and he's like, what's going on? And trying to figure out. And this movie's probably going to be a lot quicker if he'd have known that she'd have killed Mystique when she got there. Or at least one of them would have died a lot quicker because they'd have gone at it. They'd have really gone. It wouldn't have been one thing about Magneto. It wouldn't have been an apology. There wouldn't have been a sorry good enough that we about to fight. Okay. Somebody's gonna die. Could be me, could be you, but we're about to fight. Let's talk about this scene, gentlemen. Jordan, give me your thoughts.
Yeah, like you said, Michael Fassbender, man, I love watching him as Magneto. It's to the point that like when Disney goes and recasts Professor X and Magneto, I just can't. I don't know how you replace him. I mean, he's young enough to continue to play Magneto for as long as Ian McKellen's been alive. Yeah. I mean, Ian McKellen is going to be returning, which there's a shot. I'm going to dive course correct real quick. I can't believe Ian McKellen is coming back as Magneto, especially he fell on stage. That might have been earlier this year. I thought he was going to be done acting.
How old is he? How old is he?
He's getting up there. I have no idea how old he is, but
103.
Yeah.
Oh, stop it.
How old was Gandalf?
I mean, he was old.
He said Gandalf.
I mean, he was already looking at old in the rearview mirror in the first X-Men movie. Dude.
Damn.
But like Ian McKellen did such a great job, but Michael Fassbender, he builds such a more relatable character. Like he gives you a reason to be like, some of the things he says and does, I get it. Like you get it. Like in the first X-Men movie with Ian McKellen, it's like it was almost like he was like a mustache twirling villain. Like he didn't really have much like reason to like for you to side with him up until X-Men 2 and X-Men The Last Stand. Did you really feel that for him?
He's 86, by the way.
Oh man, like
106? 86. Okay. I'd buy either one. I'd buy either one. But God bless him either way. You know what I'm saying? Like
he's still out there doing it, man.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, Michael Fassbender, I don't know if I can picture anyone else. Like they have to go into a completely different way of doing Magneto. Now, I've heard people say like, "Oh, Denzel Washington." Now, Denzel has already said he's basically retiring after the next like 6 movies. Mm-hmm. One of them is Black Panther 3, which was very interesting to hear about. But Denzel would have been a great Magneto if you were aiming for an older Magneto. But I mean, they're probably going to aim for like a middle-aged one, someone Michael Fassbender's age. And like when I see him in this scene, he genuinely wants to be the strong parent in the room, basically. Like Charles is the sympathetic one to go to, like, oh, I have a boo-boo. Like, oh, okay, you want me to kiss it? And like Michael Fassbender as Magneto is like, all right, well, what are you going to do about it? Like, some kid punched you. Yes. And when Jean comes to him, Jean doesn't know what she wants from him.
Right.
And he doesn't know what's going on. So he's going to ask every question. He's going to be a strong, stern parent and be like, what are you doing here? Whose blood is that?
Right.
I genuinely like, I'm like, he's not being this villain here. He has this home, his community. He's trying to protect his own students. Like Charles has his students. These other mutants are basically his students. He's like you said, with this like makeshift Genosha. This is the beginning stages of Genosha is what I got out of it. And as soon as he comes into the frame from then on out, it's like, man, this dude just does such a great job of delivering his lines, doing everything right. And I appreciate this scene a lot. And this is one scene that really displays Jean's power. Is like Magneto can control metal. So when it comes to lifting a helicopter, he can do that, no problem. But when you have someone of Jean's power now, she's not even like breaking a sweat trying to push this helicopter, and he's going full out, like all of his might to try and push this helicopter away and get all these government like officers into this helicopter to leave and be safe. Like he's going all might. So it's only displaying Gene's power in this entire scene.
Yeah. Dave?
Yeah, and it's a bit of a character shift because like when most people think about Magneto, they think villain or he's like the clearly the bad guy character. Just in that moment with the two of them, clear shift. There he was, he saved them and everything, and he went and like we were pointing out, he was protecting like his community there and everything from her, and he was all about getting the he kept saying that over and over. Whose blood is that? Whose blood is that? Like he knew something was wrong, but he wanted to get he wasn't just blindly going to give her sanctuary. But then at the same time, like if you're trying to see like Jean's perspective, here she is throughout the entire movie. She's never really like belonged.
She has no home. Yeah, she has no home. Yeah.
No. So
and it's been that way for her
entire life,
her entire existence. You're 100% right. As a matter of fact, I think one of the themes of this is just accepting your destiny. I think one of the persistent themes in the X-Men mythos in general is you have to accept you, because people will not always do that. There are mutants whose power you can see, and then there are mutants like Toad. Excuse me, there are mutants whose powers you cannot see. You don't know that they're mutants. And then there are others that you do know, right? And people naturally reject them. And so a part of their existence is self-acceptance. Look, if nobody accepts you, you have to accept you. You're here. It's a part of your journey that is written into this and baked into this. And it is really baked into Jean's existence because she really is a woman without a country. She is, but she isn't from the perspective that nobody knows her. Can you guys imagine everywhere you go hearing everybody's thoughts? Like, it seems like it would be really cool, but really think about that. Really think about that, right?
Some parts would be funny. Imagine just walking into a coffee shop and hearing some ladies in line is like, "Oh, I just farted. Oh, I hope no one smells that." Or, like, it's the little things.
It is, but it would be, you know what I mean? Because like the people who know you would be like, "All right, don't enough with your shit, Jordan. Don't be reading my damn mind." Okay, you know what I mean? Like it would be a lonely lifestyle because you would have to. Who's going to understand you? It's not a whole lot of people out there that can read minds, which is, I think, part of the reason that Charles Xavier and Jean Grey have such a bond, because he's one of the few people that can truly understand what she goes through, right? Which is why when she finds out that he's hidden this from her, there's such this feeling of betrayal, right? But she really is a woman without a country. And I think that this works to the Phoenix's advantage because it causes her to retreat more and more and more into it, right? At least just my thoughts. But anyway, so let's talk about it. Climax comes on a military train. Well, first and foremost, I want to talk about that battle that they have at whatever mansion the Dabari are hiding out at, because that was pretty cool. Like, I really liked the scenes when they were putting the powers on display. Like, I just love Nightcrawler and the way that they use him. I like the way that they use Storm in that entire fight outside of there. I thought that was really cool. And I really thought that we saw just how capable Charles Xavier is as he's taking on three people. Well, I'm going to hold you here. I'm going to do that over there. I'm going to do that, all while fighting somebody else who is a telekinetic as well. I thought that I just love that, right? So let's talk about that scene. Dave, give me your thoughts.
Yeah, this was such a cool scene. The train thing, was such an awesome climax on like many different levels. Magneto, and again, like Jordan was saying, the dude's phenomenal. The guy playing him, absolutely phenomenal. I can't see anybody else playing him anytime soon. But the things he did on the train when he got them all in the one compartment and then he closes it and then he detaches it, that was freaking awesome. And then even with Nightcrawler, when he teleported the one right in front of the train as it was going, it just everything was like boom, boom, boom. Like every character was like doing just cool shit, like all over the place. Yeah. Like that was like one of the better scenes I think they've probably ever done as far as action is concerned. Yeah. Because you had them building to it with each character. Like Nightcrawler was like struggling up until that point, and then it's like boom, like that was his redemption. He did not want to kill. Exactly. And they built to it. Pissed him off. I don't know. I can't remember what it was, but you see in there when that switch flips, he's like, okay. Go ahead.
It was that security guard that he's told Nightcrawler, he's like, my son was a fan, and he went to save that security guard, but I guess right before he teleported, he got punched like right in the stomach. Yeah, just bled out and died.
Yeah. That it just so many things, and they every single thing that they did, like with Magneto, he was struggling, and they built towards that moment when he did that with the card. They did the same thing with Nightcrawler, and then they had the scene with the guard and everything. And it was built so well. And again, that I just absolutely love the writing in this movie. And that was one of the reasons in pro wrestling, they have these like hardcore matches where you use barbed wire and all these different things. And there's guys that'll just do shit because like, it's cool. Let's just do this. There's no build. And so people just get confused why you're just doing random stuff. And it's the same thing with movies. Like you can't just throw in like a massive action sequence and rush. Like they did such a good job building each character and leading to things that they did. They didn't just have Nightcrawler throwing a bunch of people in front of the train. They built to him getting to that point with one person. Same thing with Magneto. Like we know how much he can manipulate metal, but they built to him doing that with the compartment, and it just added so much more value to everything they did in that entire scene. Absolutely love that scene. Was one of the better written action sequences I think I've seen in an X-Men movie, to be honest.
Agreed 100%, man. 100%. Let's get to some character arcs. So Jean Grey, her arc is from insecure, traumatized child to unstoppable cosmic force. The conflict struggles between Jean, the identity tied to her humanity, and the Phoenix Force, pushing her towards destruction. The resolution finds redemption through sacrifice, choosing to save her loved ones and embrace her destiny as something greater than human. And that is 100% accurate, 100% correct. Again, this entire movie felt like Carrie, man. It felt like Carrie. It felt a little bit like Brightburn, but it really felt like Carrie in that she's like the whole movie, okay, I'm telling you guys, leave me alone. Stop it. And finally, when she forgives Charles, I think it gave her a little peace. And she says, I now know what I have to do. And she just proceeded to open up a can of whoop ass on every bad guy in there. She started like eviscerating people. Like, you never even existed. Like, get out of here. Like, reducing them to like nothing, right? Give me your thoughts, Jordan. Character arc, Jean Grey, give me your thoughts.
Jean, it's so weird because like I don't know if she goes on an appropriate arc because I mean she sacrifices herself in the end, and I mean it was either and I guess this was the moment in the one moment in the movie where she's like, oh, I actually care for my boyfriend. Where she sees that his hand is like fading away, like Thanos snapped his fingers, which by the way, the way they fade away looks exactly like Infinity War.
Like they contracted the same dude to do it. Yeah.
And but she sees he's like fading away from the cosmic power radiating off of her. But like, I don't know if I see her arc completely complete because she sacrifices her. It's almost like a quick decision, like all right, well, what would we do in this situation? How do we complete her arc? Oh, she just kills herself. Okay, like maybe that's an easy way out of writing her. Maybe that's just something I didn't see. I don't know.
Okay, that's fair. Dave, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was anything. I thought it was a good arc. And I think like by the end of it, I think what they were trying to get across was like there's this conflict throughout the entire time, but when it really came down to it, and she even says the line, which again, you know, maybe just a touch overwritten when she says the line about, you know, now I know, and she says the line about protecting her family, like you were, but yeah, maybe that wasn't necessarily overwritten, but like she kind of, it was like, hey audience, like this is the end of my arc. But I think that was it. I think that was it though, is kind of what it was. Like you're seeing this push-pull the whole time, and then at the end of the day, she was like, well, you gave me this family, now I get it. And you know, when it comes down to it, I'm gonna protect them because you know, really the only family I kind of ever known. Right. So I'll buy that. Like I can buy that. Like I'm okay with that. I don't think I don't think it was rushed or anything. I mean, the movie ended up being 2 hours long. When it was like over 2 hours, wasn't it? Like almost
it was
2 hours.
Hour and 53 minutes, I think.
Oh, really? It was short. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because when they killed off Storm, like that, I thought was like more of a turning point, or not Storm, but Mystique.
Yeah.
That I thought was like a turning point, and that's like more of a halfway through a movie kind of a thing. So like after that, I was like, wow, this is really long, but I guess not. But I thought the arc was pretty good. I thought they did a good job with her, and you could kind of like identify with the back and forth throughout. Again, I thought it was written very well, like even including towards the tail end. Could they have done more with it? Probably. They probably could have.
That's fair. Look at when I went back and watched this, what stood out to me was that when she's lying there and he's talking to her, he's talking to the 5-year-old whose parents died. Right. And the reason I say that's accurate is because when you're dealing with someone with trauma, we all have a couple of ages, right? We are chronologically a certain age. So I'm chronologically 55. My wife would tell you emotionally I'm 8, whatever. But when in regards to trauma, right? Whatever age you are, when that trauma occurs, until you go back and deal with it, that's the age you are. So it is appropriate that he is talking to the 5-year-old because she's just unlocked all of this stuff that's happened, right? We didn't even talk or speak to the fact that she goes to see her dad and he wants nothing to do with her because he blames her for the death of his wife. And although that is terrible, that is real, people. That is real. There are many scenarios, especially if you're talking about somebody with enhanced abilities, where the parent would blame the child. Absolutely, 100%. Now, in a loving environment, no. But I'm telling you, that could happen. So she's got to feel rejected, right? She's got this whole journey is people telling her, you don't belong here, and you don't belong here, and you suck, and you did this, and we hate you, and you should die. And all of this negative stuff, right? All while in the backdrop, just finding out that you killed your parents. Can you imagine that? So she's got to be fractured. Half this movie is, again, this movie is about her versus her. It's about the truth versus how I'm going to deal with it. How am I going to choke down this meal of fecal matter that I now have to digest, right? So anyway, long and short of it, I think it was apropos that he was having a conversation with the 5-year-old. And with that being said, Dave, yeah, that line was, well, I now have to help my family. Well, she's 5. You get what I'm saying? He's talking to the 5-year-old version of her. So I get it. Let's talk about Charles Xavier. I think this character arc, to me personally, was interesting because humility is key if you're going to do anything in life. You guys both know this. Jordan, you're accomplished at everything you do. Dave, you've gone and conquered the world and a lot of shit that I'm not going to get into because it's not my place to talk about. But the bottom line is, if you're going to get anywhere in this world, you better be humble because there are things that you can't see if you're arrogant. And what we found out with Charles is, look, Charles's dream was acceptance, right? His dream was for mutant kind and humans to come together and sing Kumbaya. Come together right now, naturally. Bullshit. And he finds this out. He is riding high because, and this is a part of the human experience. Look, when you have a vision, right, and it comes to fruition, you kind of internally get arrogant and say, yeah, I did that. I was right. I knew I could do it. And there's so much in this life that just comes down to luck that has nothing to do with you, right? That has nothing to do with you. So his sin in this movie is arrogance because he's in love with the acceptance, right? He's in love with them saying, oh, X-Men, come save us. We have these human beings in outer space. Oh, X-Men, come save us. And the president calling him, he has his own line to the president. Hello. As a matter of fact, and this is what I thought was funny. When the shit goes down and, Jean Grey loses her shit a little bit, he calls and they're like, yeah, this line's been disconnected. Like, you won't talk to me. And that is,
you didn't pay your phone bill.
Right. That is absolutely what would happen in that scenario. But his sin is arrogance in thinking, look, you're different from them. And they are never going to let you forget it. They're not. I don't care what you do. I don't care how many times you save them. The minute something happens that makes them fearful, they're going to turn on you, and he forgets this. And in my humble opinion, that's his sin. Guys, let's talk about it. Am I right, wrong? Let's go. Don't everybody speak at once.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's he struggled with first that, like we talked about in the beginning, he struggled with, kind of it, how do I explain this? When is the right time? It's almost like, and not to belittle the example in the movie, but it's almost like dealing with a kid in Santa Claus. It's like you're lying to them for, X number of years.
Right.
And then it's like, when is the right time? You don't want them to be the first.
Right.
Because let me tell you, you don't want to be the first. You don't want them to be the first one in their bracket to find out there's no, but you also don't want them to be the last either. So you got to find that happy medium. And I think, and he does have a degree of arrogance and everything. But I think that there's a lot more complexity going on. I think that's why, the X-Men in general have had so many successful movies, is because there's so many relatable qualities and there's so many things, like how you brought up the similarities with Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. And I was just saying that the other day when I saw this again. I was like, they're like, it's like Martin and Malcolm.
Yeah.
Between the two of them, because one is like definitely by any means necessary. I don't care what side you're on. If they're screwing with my people, it's over.
They gotta die.
They just gotta die. And it's
right.
You can't. And again, similar to them, you're like, you can't disagree with either one. They both have the same. The same principles. They just have different ways of going about things. Mm-hmm. And it's difficult to disagree with both of them. But with Xavier, again, I think great arc. And I think by the end of it, he's kind of like, it's like hitting home a little bit more with him, where it's like, it's not necessarily about the successes that we have with me putting all these people together. I also now have to think about like how many, like what I do and say impacts so many other things.
Yeah.
And to me, this reminded me of like a Bible, like King Manasseh from the Bible came to mind, because it's like the Bible is littered with people that have like murdered, lied, stole, and all this stuff, but then they have like some sort of redeeming quality where they get back and God's grace and all that. And it was that, to me, was like with Phoenix. And really, if you're writing that character, she kills her parents, she kills Mystique. You kind of have to kill her in a way by the end. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she can't be okay by the end of the movie. Like, it won't go over well, So it's like, I kind of get why they did what they did at the end. They were like, we kind of killed her, but not really, but we did. So it's like, yeah, that makes sense. But with Charles, though, I think it was more of like on a dynamics of like how the things that he does and says like impacts people, and it hit home with him after that situation more than any other, I think, character up until that point. And I think it really just kind of was like a huge shift for his character.
Okay. Jordan, is there ever any peace for Magneto? Is there a place? Is there a place that exists outside of Genosha? Not even Genosha. Is there a place in the universe where this man could just have some peace? Like, give me your thoughts.
I don't know, man. Magneto is a complicated character. Like I was telling you before, like two characters that have really never interacted with one another. I would love to see Peter Parker and Magneto just sit down and talk about how they both experience grief, because I mean, they both lose so much in their life, and they both operate completely different between the two of them. So I don't know if Magneto gets any sort of peace anywhere. And it's like Iron Man says in Endgame, that's the hero gig. Even though Magneto's not a hero, I mean, he kind of is, because at the end of the day, if his job was accomplished, it would also accomplish Charles's goal too.
It would,
because there would be peace. The mutants would be able to live their life the way they want to live their life. And that is the hero gig at the end of the day. So, and that's why Magneto is such a great, complicated character. And I hope they write the next Magneto the same way they write this Magneto.
Agreed.
And honestly, if you told me, hey, they're coming out with a Magneto movie that kind of sets his character up, you could definitely do that. I mean, I don't know how you would build an antagonist off of that, but you can build like a dramatic movie about just the loss in his life. I mean, in the same way you kind of do with every single Peter Parker storyline, because everybody dies in his life. So Magneto's great. Professor Xavier in this movie, look, I love James McAvoy. I think James McAvoy could literally play any single character on this earth and figure out a way to do it. He's so versatile in everything he does. I mean, look at just watch Split. That's literally the only movie you need to watch to showcase all of his ways of being a great actor.
Yeah, his talent. He's truly talented.
And with this movie, it's so interesting because, like, it's almost like he reverted back to the beginning of First Class, where he was in college, drinking and stuff, partying and stuff like that. And it's like an actual adult version of that, where it's like, all right, he's looking at all the shots, he's talking with the president, going to do speeches and stuff like that. He's really missing the behind the scenes of why he's so important. It's like that party animal was still inside him, and he was like releasing that with all of this like popularity that he was getting. But he needs to realize that he needs to grow up and be that like parental figure to all of these students, because these students, most of them don't have their parents to rely on, and they're looking at a parental figure to do that, not necessarily a professor, but just a parent. So that was something I think him having that conversation with Gene not only helps Gene, but I think it also helped him realize who he is to become that like Patrick Stewart Professor X that we know and love.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I think a lot of this in regards to Charles is also power, not power in the sense of Jean Grey, but power in the sense of status, right? Like, the people are loving you right now, Charles. You got 1 million followers on Twitter. You're this.
You're trending.
You're trending, and which is what he wants, right? Let's be honest. A large part of Charles wants to be accepted. That's all. I just want you guys to love me, and that is dangerous. That is dangerous, because at the end of the day, you have to remain true to yourself and your cause. And not everybody. If everybody loves you, you're doing something wrong. If everybody loves you, you're doing something wrong. So I think from that perspective, this movie is about the dynamic between the corruption of power and remaining true to oneself. If I had to just sum it all up, that's what I would say on that. Let's do something a little different. So I wanted to do a comparison between, or a juxtaposition between, the comics Dark Phoenix Saga and the movie. Let me pull this up. Give me 1 second here. If I can bring this document back, and what are we on? 20s. We're going to go to page 20 right here. Okay. All right. So, in the comics, Jean fully embraced the Phoenix, destroys the star system. Billions did. Power is inherently corrupting. That's true. In Dark Phoenix, she loses control of amplified emotions. Power equals dangerous if misunderstood, not inherently evil. Is there anything on this page you guys disagree with, or is it pretty much goes in the line?
Let's see. Yeah, I mean the comics are pretty much that way. And the comics, you can sort of parallel the comics to the X-Men the Animated Series. The X-Men the Animated Series does such a great job of doing the Phoenix Saga. Phoenix Saga is such it's a unique storyline in a sense that, like, it's very, if you're not going with the comic accuracy route, it's gonna be hard to make a great movie. And it should be treated like an Infinity War, like a Secret Wars event, because it is. And I mean, the Phoenix Saga brings together not only the X-Men, but the Avengers. It brings together the Defenders, every superhero, because everybody gets involved, because they realize this is
a world ender. This is a world-ending event, right?
Like, I mean, she killed a whole star system. Like, she could kill everybody in a whole universe, a whole galaxy. Yeah. So, I don't think any of the movies have come close to replicating that. I think the animated series has come close to replicating that. But if you're not going with comic accuracy with this movie, you're not gonna be able to make this like Avengers Endgame level movie. It's just going to be, it's always going to be less than that. Yeah. And I think you can make a great movie with that. I would personally, Secret Wars comes out in 2027. You build up the X-Men, build up other characters. I probably wouldn't even touch the Phoenix Force until like 2034, 2035. Like, you gotta really build this up. And you can't just make it that it's always been inside her like we have seen in Dark Phoenix or the X-Men The Last Stand. It needs to be something that it gets thrust upon her because she sacrifices herself. Very similar to the way this movie opens, but it also contradicts what we see in Apocalypse. At the end of Apocalypse, it shows that there's something inside of her. And what we see in Dark Phoenix is that like force goes inside of her and unleashes that power. So with the translating the comics to live action, you need to be able to showcase her abilities pre-Phoenix Saga, and then introduce the Phoenix Force.
Agreed 100%, man.
It's gonna be very hard to make this into a movie. I'm gonna be straightforward. If I ever see a great adaptation of this in live action, it will be on the level of Infinity War.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's some things that it's hard to translate to Joe Blow moviegoer, right? Because everybody doesn't read comics, right? Everybody, so to the average person who's never seen the X-Men or what, they're not going to understand the Phoenix and the cosmic power. So I can understand why sometimes they take a little license to make it more digestible, right? You get what I'm saying? It's like there's certain restaurants. My wife loves Thai food. My family loves Thai. I'm not a Thai food fan because it's so spicy, right? Which, not that I can't take it. I'm just not it's so spicy. I'm just, you know what I mean? I like Asian cuisine, but Thai is a little bit on the, like, I got to be in a wild mood. I got to be like, let's go get drunk. I'm going to get me some Thai food. You know what I mean? I got it. Like, that's a little bit, that's a walk on the wild side for me. I know, guys. I know. Whatever. Let's take a look at some little, or actually, let's take a look at our favorite scenes. So, guys, these are my 3 favorite scenes, right? The shuttle rescue at the beginning of the movie, I thought was just great. I loved it. I loved the way they worked together. I loved the way they CGI'd it. I love the way Jean was exposed to the cosmic, whatever that was. Sorry, Jean, but it was a cool scene. I love that. I thought that was really cool. Of course, Mystique died. That one kind of, it's funny. I didn't think I would feel a way about it, but I kind of felt a way about it when she died. I was like, damn, they can, like, what the hell, right? I don't know. And then the train battle was just so cool. I'm with you right there, Dave. When he does the whole, you guys are going to die. I'm sick of your shit. This is over. I thought that was cool. I thought it was also cool when he, like, took all of those guns and unleashed it on Vuk. It didn't do anything, but I thought that was cool. One thing we did find out about the Dabari, 50 caliber weapons can kill them. 9mm, not so much. But you pull out a 50 cal, they're going down, baby. I'm just saying.
The 9mm and the 5.56s weren't doing the trick.
They just weren't doing it. You know what I mean?
Cal and above.
Go big or go home. Okay, go big or go home. That's all I'm saying. Hey guys, give me your favorite scenes. Dave, let's start with you. Give me your 3 favorite scenes.
Yeah, I'll take. I think if I had to pick 3, those would be my 3. Actually, if you're doing like beginning, middle, and end, that's pretty much the ones that stand out. If I had to change any of those 3, it would be the mansion confrontation to maybe the one where she goes back to and she's talking with Magneto, because I just think that the dialogue between the two and the push-pull between the two and just how dynamic of how much of the dynamics of each character that it brings out of both of them. Really like that scene. But yeah, the train battle, tops for me. Definitely tops for me. I thought the build toward the action for each and every single character was so well written. And it's too bad. It's really too bad that this movie, they did it on a budget of like $200 million, and I think they made like $252.
Yeah.
So because I know you had the one that said that they lost money.
Yeah.
So I don't like, what is that counting exactly?
Well, so let me give an example. When you see what a movie makes, when you look at the international gross, that's really not the international gross.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because let's say it made 150 million overseas. That ain't what you taking home. You might take of 150, you might take 60 million. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
because I did see online too about the net loss of 130. I'm like, well, how did they?
Yeah.
But it's a shame. It's a shame because this and like I was saying before we came on, I think there was more push when it got to streaming than there was before the theatrical release.
Agreed.
And I think and it's just like that with anything else. Like you can be a star, you can have the best character ever. You know, you can put on but at the end of the day, you do also have to have the machine behind you.
Amen.
This is one of the better, if not best written ones that they've probably ever done. And it'll just go so unnoticed because the machine just wasn't behind them in the beginning. Yeah. When I rewatched this, I was like, I totally forgot like how well written this really was, especially because the last time, what was the last one we did? Wolverine. And then I watched this again. I was like, boy, this is like night and day.
Right.
You went from to this. And it was like, it's not even close.
Right.
But that movie did so much better at the box office. And I think, and again, I don't think there was like any one thing, but obviously Machine was not behind this one.
Correct.
And I think you're also dealing with the actress that played her. Because again, like she's the main character of this movie. Like, don't get it twisted. But there was nobody. What else was she? What else did she do?
Yeah.
You know, like that was another part of it.
I thought she did a great job.
Right.
Game of Thrones.
Right. But I mean, you know,
yeah.
If you had Jennifer Lawrence playing this character, I think it does differently.
Probably does. Yeah, you're right about that.
Just because, and again, I'm not saying that she did a bad job as the character.
Right.
I'm just saying that, like, obviously, like, it's at the end of the day, it's a business, and you have to appeal towards certain, other crowds and all that stuff. I think you pull in a lot better numbers if you have her in that role. I wouldn't have had this done differently at all, because again, it was just so well written in so many different areas. They could have done more with a few things, like with her ending and everything. But other than that, like just everything that they built towards, like in action movies, a lot of times, it's like when you watch something, you get the sense of a bunch of people saying, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we did this?
Right.
Wouldn't it be cool if we did this? But again, for me, like there's got to be good storytelling. And if you're going to have like these cool action sequences, why are you doing what they did such a good job with that train scene leading up to every single part of action that was in that entire sequence of events that happened there. That's what made it so good for me, because there was storytelling behind every single thing that they got to. Whereas in like a lot of action movies, you don't get that.
Yeah.
It would be cool if we did this thing in the plane and then they did this. But there's no psychology behind it.
Right.
There's no build, and they do this because it would look cool or it's a cool idea.
Right.
Like in the Wolverine movie, we saw some of that. But in this, it was just a lot smarter. A lot of the action sequences were just a lot smarter, and they built toward it a lot better in this one.
Agreed. Jordan, 3 favorite scenes?
Unlike X-Men Apocalypse, when we did this, I knew what my answers were going to be. With this movie, I don't necessarily know. The opening, the prologue, the first 7 minutes of the movie, fantastic. Again, that grounded level, I really enjoy that. The train scene is fantastic too, and small scene, but I love it so much. The very end of this movie, when Charles and Eric are playing chess in Italy.
Yeah.
That it's such a small scene. That's how this whole universe came to an end outside of Deadpool and Wolverine, because we won't talk about that. It is such a fantastic way to end this. We end this timeline with the two central characters coming together, like for old time's sake, and playing a game of chess. It's so subtle, and I'm like, I every time I watch this movie and I get to this part, I'm like, I love this scene. It's so small. It doesn't matter, but it's such a we care about these characters, and we care about the actors who play these characters, because both of them did such a great job for. I mean, at this point, they were in these movies for like 9 years together.
Mm-hmm.
And they do such a great job, and we just see them genuinely, like, I think they're genuinely smiling as if like this is the climax of what we've built to. And I appreciate this scene a lot. And then I'll mention the shuttle scene. I like that's, I guess, I mean, I don't know if I would call that an honorable mention. That the chess scene, I put the train scene and the shuttle rescue kind of on the same level.
Mm-hmm.
I love the extent. Like I told you guys in the beginning, like it felt like I was watching an X-Men the Animated Series episode, watching them going to space. Like it was a mission. It was just a fun scene, and the train sequence is so awesome. Dave, like you were saying, when Magneto twists the whole train car on them, that's so sick. Watching, I will say this. I didn't say it in the Apocalypse stream. I didn't say it until now. I'm maybe not the biggest fan of this Nightcrawler. And I wasn't a huge fan of the X2 Nightcrawler either. Mm-hmm. And I love Nightcrawler. If you ask me about the X-Men Animated Series Nightcrawler, love that Nightcrawler.
Well, he's a paradox. He is a true paradox.
X-Men Evolution, which came out in the 2000s, I love that Nightcrawler too. Mm-hmm. And I don't necessarily get that from either of these two live action iterations of Nightcrawler, but I mean, I like this. I love this scene a lot with him.
Yeah, they don't really have time to develop. Everybody character, right? But the thing about the Nightcrawler and I'll be quick because I know you're doing your thing. But even though he looks like a devil, he is one of a devout religious person, which he is a walking paradox. But they, for whatever reason, never get there with that. But anyway, I'll shut up, Jordan. It's your moment. Go ahead, sir.
And they like touch on it quite a few times in X2.
They do.
In the newer movies, it was more of like he's young. We're kind of they were leaning towards more of the X-Men Evolution version of Nightcrawler in this iteration, while X2 is leaning more into a more serious version of the X-Men the Animated Series version. Yes. So I don't think we've gotten this great version of Nightcrawler, but I think we are getting there. I also want to see him in the comic accurate suit. I think it would be very cool. I really, 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 really am hoping to see that in Avengers Doomsday. I may have seen some leaked artwork on the movie, which has been since taken down, that might hint at the Nightcrawler suit coming into live action, which would be awesome. One of my favorite action figures was a Nightcrawler action figure with the comic accurate suit. So Nightcrawler's been like one of my more underrated superhero favorites for me. And I just haven't ever fallen in love with any of the live action iterations. But I will say, coolest scene was the train scene with him. Him just because if you have that teleporting ability, and they display that in X-Men First Class with the red guy who can teleport,
Azazel.
Where he just teleported.
Who's actually rumored to be his dad. So he apparently is the love child of Azazel and Mystique. But go ahead. Sorry.
But like he teleports in front of the train. That's so sick. But yeah, I guess I would put the train sequence and the shuttle kind of on the same level. And then I would I love the chess scene at the end and the prologue.
Okay, that's cool. Hey man, you can't look. You guys are all spot on with your scenes. There's not a bad scene that you mentioned. I really enjoyed this movie, and that's the thing about doing these is you forget how good some of these films are. This was a great film. It is a tragedy that it did not do better, but this was very well done. And Dave, I agree with you. If the machine is not behind you, you're not going to do it. There's a little known movie that came out in the 90s. Jordan, I know you still haven't seen it. It is The Five Heartbeats. It is essentially a movie about the Dells, which was a band in the 50s and 60s. Great story. Not a good story. Great story. It got zero press at the time that it was released. I did not go and see it in the theater, but when it came out on pay-per-view, it has become a timeless classic. It is a cultural classic. It is one of the best films ever done. But to your point, Dave, because the machine was not behind it, it didn't do very well at the box office, right? So there you go. You guys have all made great points. Let's get to some little unknown facts.
I do want to point out one quick scene.
Okay.
That creeped me out.
Okay.
When Jean is getting Xavier to walk up the steps.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
First time I saw that, I was just like, oh, no, this is creepy. It just, every time I watch it, I'm just like, oh, the way his legs, like, I don't know how
felt
he
like
did that.
Exorcist. Felt like The Exorcist. That's what it felt like. Felt like we was getting ready to get into some paranormal activity.
And again, even how they wrote that, it was like that's probably what that would look like. They didn't have them just because you can't do it naturally, right? Yeah. So I mean, again, even that, like every little thing in this movie, just and it was one of those things where it was like it was something kind of creepy to look at, but it was like, wow, they did that really good.
Yeah.
I think for me, that scene was creepy in two ways. Number one, we see how pissed off Jean Grey is. Jean Grey reveres. For all intents and purposes, he's her dad. For all intents and purposes, she is really mad at him. She is really, because for her she knows he can't walk. You know what I mean? You know how demeaning that is to do to get like that. So she's clearly mad. And they have a moment when she brings him to the top of the stairs and they're looking at each other face to face. And she starts remembering everything that he's done for her. The fact that when her dad gave up on her, he says, I'll take her. And the fact that he's encouraged her along the way and everything that she's done. And in that moment, she shows mercy because she's getting ready to kill him. In that scene, it's getting ready. If you know why it feels creepy, because it is, gentlemen, she's getting ready to kill him. Okay. She's getting ready to go Brightburn on that ass. And she's looking at him and she's like, damn, okay, I forgot. And what about and she begins to see, I'm not going to kill him. I'm still mad, but I'm not going to kill. It's like a teenager, right? It's like dealing with the teenager, right? That's what that is. But Jordan, I'm glad you brought that up because that was a very good scene. Now that I think about it and everything that was going on, that was a very creepy scene in more ways than one, because I think in this instance, look, I'm a parent, and as a parent, when your kids are born, you think to yourself, holy shit, I am somebody's parent. I'm not ready for this. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And then there's the day that your kids realize you were human and you didn't know what the hell you were doing. And they judge you. And it happens. It happens. I don't care who you are. This is what is going on in this scene, right? But ultimately what happens is your kids think, yeah, but dad did this and mom did this and they really did love me and they did this. And even though they did fuck up, they did it because they love me. And in 90% of the cases, they're going to forgive you and all is well, and then they become adults. And this is what's going on in this scene. Anyway, guys, let's go. That's a good one, Jordan. Unknown and interesting facts about the movie. Original ending was set in space, changed to train sequence due to Marvel's plans for the Skrull. So you are 100% right, Jordan. Jessica Chastain's role shifted from Skrull leader to Vuk mid-filming. Now, Jordan, you and I had a conversation. Dave, you were there. I know you saw it. I know you remember. Jordan does not like Jessica Chastain at all. Okay? Does not like her. Okay?
I didn't say at all. I didn't say at all. I don't care for her as an actress.
Yeah,
no, I did like her.
I'm not
Zero Dark 30. Zero Dark 30. She was really good.
Okay, he doesn't like her as an actress. Okay, I love Jessica Chastain. I revere Jessica Chastain for two movies that I said at the beginning of this that I've now forgotten that I will now look up. Molly's Game, which I thought she was excellent in. Okay, I thought Molly's Game, that was like the first time I really paid attention to her. I own that movie. I watch it once a year. I thought she was great in that role. There's another role for her, which is Miss Sloane, which I thought she was excellent in as well. What I will give you, however, is that her role in this movie is a little stiff. And you know what, guys? It's apropos because next week we're doing Captain Marvel, which is another role that was very stiff to them. So yeah, let's talk about what you did not like, or what you don't particularly care for about this actress in this role, or what did you think of her performance in this role? Let's talk about it, Jordan.
I mean, I think she was doing exactly what the role was asking for her. So it, like, in terms of, I don't even blame her for this movie. It's other movies that I just don't care for her for. In fact, her being in this role is the only reason this role was even noticeable. Like I said before, if you throw an average actress that maybe the majority of people don't know into that role, they probably have no idea who this person is. In fact, I remember Jessica Chastain in interviews for this movie saying, I don't know what the name of my character is.
Damn.
Like like, that is hilarious. That is how forgettable this character was. And it has nothing to do
like me when I go to get to the store for my wife. I don't know what she would. Damn. Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I don't blame her for this role. I blame the just general direction of this. If it was Skrulls, would it have been different? I don't know. I think more people know about Skrulls than whatever. I still don't even. You said it. We've talked about it. I still don't remember. Dabari, I'm pretty sure. And would it have changed? I don't know, because I felt like this was calling for a flat character, a non-emotion seeking alien, and I'm gonna be honest. With how aliens have been portrayed in movies over the last, I say, 15 years, a lot of aliens have been treated not like that. If this movie came out in like 1975 and it was showing how flat that would have been, it would have been seen as, okay, that was good performance. But now you go and you see
Bright.
Like now you see movies like this, or now you see other movies with aliens. Like you look at Captain Marvel, where they have the Skrulls. Like you see the emotion behind all the Skrulls.
Right.
You just don't see any emotions in this.
Or Netflix with Bright. That's another one. At least I thought so. I don't know. So they had extensive reshoots for a more grounded complex. Hans Zimmer came out of retirement Hans Zimmer is the GOAT. I don't care what y'all say. He's the GOAT of all soundtracks. Love me some Hans Zimmer. Jennifer Lawrence's smaller role was due to her reluctance. That's why Mystique was killed early. The film was delayed multiple times. 2018, February 2019, June 2019. First X-Men film post Disney's acquisition of Fox. And guys, I don't want to launch a conspiracy here, but if you just took over a franchise, wouldn't it benefit you if the last production from that franchise fails so you can say you saved them? I'm just thinking out loud here, right?
It could be, but also at the same time, it could kind of like give that feeling where like, well, we didn't put our money
right
into this one.
Right.
We're not losing anything.
There you go.
But it could be, and not that that's not a possibility. It's a shame because, again, to me, this was more of like a film than it was like just a movie kind of thing because it was just so well written.
It suffered because of its parents. This is an example of the kid suffering because of his parents, right? You know what I mean? Just pay the money and send the kid to college. You know what I mean? Just go ahead and, let the young fella make something of himself. If they'd have put money in it, if like you say, Dave, if the machine would have gotten behind it, that's what I'm talking about. Disney very well could have said, we're going to commit however much money to, $100, $200 million. Why didn't they do that? That's all I'm asking. You know what I mean? Right. Why didn't they do that? Anyway, one of the biggest superhero box office flops of the 2010s, which we've chronicled, Sophie Turner filmed while also working on Game of Thrones final season. Planned cameo appearances by Deadpool were cut. Second failed Phoenix Saga adaptation of the Dark Phoenix Curse. So here's the thing. I don't agree that this movie failed because I think it was a good movie. Now, it may have not generated revenue, right? Which kind of sounds silly. I mean, it's like it's some movie I was watching. Well, so what? He has money and he's good looking and he's got all the cars and he's a great athlete. But what else does he have, right? That's kind of like that compliment. But this was a great movie. I truly enjoyed it. I don't think it was a failure, but the people that matter, because I certainly don't, they think it failed. So guys, we are at that point in time where we're going to give our rating. Dave, what do you rate this one out of 10?
I give this one a 9. I give it a 9. It was just great on so many levels. There's some spots where they maybe cut, maybe even a 9.5. I'll maybe even give it a 9.5.
Okay.
There's a couple areas where maybe they could have done a little bit more, but like you couldn't have asked for better writing. Just the way that this movie started and finished, the action sequences, whoever wrote, I'd like to know who wrote it. They need to do more of these movies.
The guy who directed it ended up writing it. Yes, he planned this script. I think right after Apocalypse, like when they were doing Apocalypse, he was planning this script. He said it was. I think it was one of the first times he was ever worked on a script. Simon Kinberg, yeah, he ended up writing it. Yeah.
Well, Disney, please have him do more.
So Chris A1 says, wait, laugh out loud. New show? Well, not new anymore. It's about the end. Hey, you can catch it. You can catch the replay on one of my channels, Chris. But hey, I'm glad you showed up anyway, brother. Always good to see you.
So, or if you stick around, Terry will do the entire thing from beginning to end after we're done.
Wow. Okay. Wow. How about that? Okay.
So So what's crazy about Simon Kinberg, I'm going to tell you what he's got writing credit on. So he's got writing credit on X-Men Days of Future Past, X-Men Apocalypse, Jumper, underrated film.
I was just about to say that's another one I really like too. Yeah,
I like Jumper.
Now you're going to be like, wait, what? X-Men: The Last Stand and Fantastic Four 2015.
Ew.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, nobody's perfect. It just goes to show you. Yeah, Jumper I thought was phenomenal. Another one I thought was heavily underrated too. Yeah.
Wait, he got how much writing credit did he get for Fantastic Four 2015? Like, woo. That's like being a war criminal. That's like, that was not me. No. I was not in Kosovo. That was not me. I didn't do that. It's crazy, man. Chris says Jumper was a good movie. Now he says now that wasn't a good movie. Ew.
Yeah, right. I'm sure he's talking about the Fantastic Four.
Oh, he definitely is. That movie was just I hate you told me that. It just ruined my appetite, man.
And then I'm thinking, was he the only writer? Did anybody else?
Yeah, I'm hoping. You know what? I'm hoping.
Were there co-writers?
Yeah. I'm hoping when they say writing, he went and got the coffee. You know what I mean? And wasn't in the room when they were like, I know. Yeah, because that was just. I'm not even going to talk about it. Wait a minute. Do we have to cover that, Jordan?
We do not. It has no connection to any. I mean, unless Deadpool and Wolverine. So Deadpool and Wolverine has so many little Easter eggs that I'm trying to find if there's any sort of connection to that movie, because if there is, then we do have to cover it. But as of now, there isn't. If for some reason Doomsday comes out and there's some character in that, then eventually we're going to have to cover it. But as of now, no.
I'm just going to say it, gentlemen. I'm going to have to get drunk to do that. Okay? I'm just saying. I'm not. You think I'm kidding? I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I'm saying it right here and now. Jordan, damn it, if you freaking make me cover this freaking movie, I'm going to be drunk. I'm just letting you know. Okay? The world is gonna witness y'all think I'm not kidding. I'm gonna be up in there. Yeah, so let's talk about this Fantastic Four movie from 2015. Can't bring me
so when are we doing Jumper?
I don't think that's Jumper. A part. I mean, we can do it.
I love Jumper.
Well, no, hey, we can do Jumper. If
we'll connect that to the Star Wars movies. It's got Samuel Jackson and Hayden Christensen. Mine as well.
Yeah,
we can do Jumper. Look, I'm cool with. We can do Jumper, man.
I love that movie.
Jumper was a great movie. All right, so Dave, you give it a 9 or 9.5, Dave.
I'll settle on 9.5. Actually,
9.5. All right, 9.5 it is. 9.5 it is, Alex. Jordan, what are you giving the movie?
Terry, I want to hear yours first.
Oh shit! Okay. Oh wow! Oh, the pressure. Okay.
I want to hear yours.
All right. I'm gonna give it an 8. I did like the movie. I did kind of have to take away for the fact that they kind of recycled the storyline a little bit. I had to take off a little bit for that, but other than that, I really enjoyed the movie. I gave Apocalypse a 7. I'm gonna give this one an 8. I definitely enjoyed it. I don't have an issue with anyone giving it a 9 because, again, this is all subjective. I gave it an 8. I thought it was a good movie. Jordan, give us your thoughts.
So before I give my score, I'm going to say a couple things. I mean, I love all the actors in this. I love the beginning of this. I love the end of this. I struggle with the middle a little bit. When it comes to acting, some actors give great performances. Some, like even Jennifer Lawrence, who's an award-winning actress, I didn't enjoy her acting. I personally believe this was her worst acting performance. I've seen her in a lot of movies. I love her in Silver Linings Playbook. I think that is one of the best actress roles I've ever seen. Like, I loved her in that. I love her in like every movie. If I see her in a movie that's coming out, I will watch the trailer to see it, and I'll there's a chance I'm going to end up watching it. I did feel like this was her worst acting role, and I just think that was just her not wanting. She didn't really care at this point.
Yeah, to do it. Yeah.
And this was the summer I learned about Sophie Turner. So Sophie Turner is awesome. I loved her in Time Freak, which is a very small movie, but I love it, and I love time travel movies. There's great parts of this that are great X-Men, and there's parts of this that I just couldn't really get behind. I ended up going with a 6 out of 10. It's still a positive score for me. For me, a 5 and higher is a positive score. 6 is like, okay. Especially like when we start getting into these Marvel movies and shows, you start to compare others. And for me, I mean, in terms of the X-Men movies, there's a lot worse than this.
Oh yeah.
I like a lot more than this. I kind of put this in the middle of the pack.
Yeah. No, look it, man. Again, this is all subjective, and I'm riding with you till the wheels fall off, Jordan. So damn it, I'm with you. I hear you, man. I enjoyed it because for me, this set of X-Men is far greater than the first 3 movies. It ain't even close. It ain't even close. So I 100% enjoyed it. I enjoyed this movie. Look it, I'm gonna be honest with you. I had to watch these over and over again. And this was fun. You know what I mean? Like, heaven help me if this were next week and I had to do this. I would probably need copious amounts of sleep. So I'm just saying, next week we have Captain Marvel. And if you're watching, it's not that it's going to be bad. It's not a great movie, but you got myself and Dave and Jordan, and these guys are talented, and we're going to make it fun. The movie, but our review of it, it's going to be a good time, guys. Okay? So tune in. Okay? It's going to be a good time.
I do want to say,
I may be a little
all right. So we're almost into the 2000s in terms of like the timelines and stuff. So this movie Dark Phoenix took place in 92. Captain Marvel takes place in 95. We only have one more movie. Actually, do we have one more movie in the 90s?
That's a you question.
Yes. One more after that. That would be Blade. After that, all 2000s and recent, and we have a lot of 2000s, a lot of 2010s. We only have a couple in the 90s. So Captain Marvel takes place in the 90s. My recommendation when you guys watch it, don't even think about watching the end credit scene, because obviously it ties into Avengers Endgame. We already know that. Watch it as if so Captain Marvel came out same 2019, again, year of our Lord, one of the best years ever. Captain Marvel made $1 billion. That's crazy to even comprehend. It might be one of the worst.
That's insane that Captain Marvel made $1 billion and this movie didn't do shit. That's just not fair. That's crazy.
It's peak Avengers Marvel content, and they ate it up with Ant-Man and the Wasp and Captain Marvel. It didn't even matter if that movie was good or not. They were going to set it up for Endgame. So anything Marvel put out during this time, it could have been 15 seconds of Groot drinking chocolate milk, and they would have gotten billions of views. True. So when you watch this movie, if we're going to think anything positive, just imagine as if this is the first time we're being, like, the last time we were in this universe, Captain America was put and frozen in ice. That was the last time we reviewed anything in this timeline. So the next thing we are watching now is Captain Marvel. We're in the 90s. We know nothing that happens later. That's the only way I can help us all get through this. I've already gone through that process and fell asleep watching this movie.
Damn.
So it goes to show what you could guess my rating for this. It's not going to be a great score. So
liquor cures it all, sir.
Think of it with a clear mind.
And not only that,
with alcohol. Sorry.
Not only that, but ladies and gentlemen, Blockbuster makes its return to the big
Yes,
screen.
it does. That's right.
It's featured prominently in this movie.
That's right.
So for those of you who remember Blockbuster and having to rewind tapes and pay late fees,
there you go. There you go. Right back at you. Chris says,
there you go.
Chris says, can I be drunk watching that one? Yes, you can, Chris. You can drink with us. Carrie says, hey, guys, I caught the last 30 minutes of the show. We'll have to catch the replay. I'm sure it was awesome. Look forward to the review. Thank you, Miss Carrie. And hopefully it was. Yeah. I'm going to, I'm going to need some liquor. I'm not going to need as much liquor as I would if we ever have to cover that god-awful Fantastic Four movie.
I hope not.
But I'm gonna probably have like a bottle of wine nearby. I'm just saying,
But I will say, when we get to the 2000s Tim Story Fantastic Four movies, I look at them in a new light. I have a certain like nostalgia for those two movies in particular. So I can't wait to get to those, because we do have to cover those, because we technically see Chris Evans as Human Torch in Deadpool and Wolverine. So it then connects back to, in order to watch Deadpool and Wolverine and even understand that character, you got to watch these two.
Yeah, that's fair. I tell you what else is interesting, guys. And I kind of forgot this until the end of this movie. We are now dealing with two distinct timelines when it comes to the X-Men.
Yeah.
Right?
3. If you include Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah. so that's but because here's the thing. When this wrapped up, I was like, wait a minute. Mystique's dead, but she's clearly, and I had to think, oh, wait. We've got X-Men Days of Future Past, which takes place in the future, but well, let me shut up. But it's
I can explain it pretty quickly. So you have the main timeline. I have it all written down because it is very confusing. You have the pre-Days of Future Past timeline, which has X-Men First Class, X-Men Origins Wolverine, the X-Men trilogy of the 2000s, the Wolverine, and then X-Men Days of Future Past. So Logan, Apocalypse, Dark Phoenix, they don't happen in this universe. After X-Men Days of Future Past, that leads to course correcting all of the movies in between First Class and Days of Future Past. So all of the events of X-Men Origins Wolverine, X-Men X2, X-Men United, X-Men The Last Stand, and the Wolverine do not happen. That leads to a post Days of Future Past timeline, which is First Class, Apocalypse, Dark Phoenix, Deadpool, Deadpool 2, The New Mutants, and Logan. Now, because of Deadpool and Wolverine and the end of Deadpool 2, that ends up leading to a post-Deadpool 2 timeline, which we only know 2 movies of. We know Deadpool and Wolverine. Actually, that's it. Because of the events of Deadpool 2, the end of Deadpool 2, and X-Men and Deadpool and Wolverine, it just leads to a brand new timeline that we have no idea, which is probably where Avengers Doomsday comes in. All those characters, I mean, you could theoretically see any character show up in this movie from all these timelines.
Yep.
And it would make sense because of the events of Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's 3. It's a lot. It's messy. That's why in Deadpool and Wolverine, when Paradox says, "Oh, you guys have been really messy with your timeline," it was a hint at Fox, but it was like, yeah, you guys have really been messy with this time.
And let's not forget Loki, right? And all the shit he's done. So I mean, there could be reverberations that we don't know about. Like, I'm going to be honest with you guys. If we ever do finally discover time travel and somebody goes back and undoes T. Will, it was nice knowing you, man. It was nice knowing you guys. I just want you to know that just in case that ever happens, right? Or some Thanos shit goes down and all of a sudden I'm one of the people that doesn't exist. It's been real, guys. I'm just saying. It's been real. No, just kidding. Hey, Jordan, tell these people where they can find you, man.
You can find me at Old Tegacy, ULTEGACY. You can find me on Instagram now. I'm back on social media with my own personal pages. I'll be posting some movie reviews. I watched Weapons that came out 2 weeks ago now. I left a small review on that, spoiler free. And you can also find me on Letterboxd, where I have rankings of all these Marvel movies, Star Wars movies. I'm trying to rewatch the Naked Gun movie so that I can go see Naked Gun. So I have reviews for that and horror movies galore. So,
Interesting. Okay. Well, how was Weapons, sir? How was it?
I enjoyed it. I don't think it's as good as everybody's saying it's one of the best movies of the year. I think it's really good, but there are people saying it's better than Sinners, and I cannot even come close to agreeing with that. Sinners was on another level. This is a very good movie, and everybody asked me one question specifically. Why is it called Weapons? I watched the movie, and I'm still wondering why it's called Weapons.
Damn. Okay. Okay. All right.
It's they tell you, but you're like, why?
Oh wow. Okay. You know something that's funny. A gnat just died on my glasses, and I somehow feel I feel vindicated, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because his little fucking brother went down my throat in the previous podcast, and I feel good about it. Yes, I'm petty. Yes, I'm petty. God damn it. You swallow a gnat and tell me how you feel, Dave. All right? I'm just saying. Guys, for those of you who don't know, Dave has officially joined our podcast. So first and foremost, Dave, we welcome you. We love you. I work with the guy. You're going to love him because he's freaking hilarious. Just don't play him at Madden because, it doesn't tend to go well. As a matter of fact, it's 11:05 p.m. on Saturday night. And Dave has still kicked my ass 11 times in Madden. There, Dave. I said it for you. Yeah. So Dave's a member of the podcast, man. We're glad to have you, Dave. This is going to be fun. Jordan, this is fun every week. I look forward to this shit. As a matter of fact, this guy's brother just came back. These gnats are really mad at me for some reason. I don't know. Maybe they're not fans of the movie. Anyway, guys, everybody who joined. Oh yeah. Chris says that's crazy that you really used to get a fee if you didn't rewind. That is crazy. That's so stupid. That's that. Whatever, man. It was the 80s. Who cares? The 80s and 90s. Whatever. Who cares? But hey, everybody. Yeah.
I got to experience Blockbuster at the end. I loved it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I was a store manager up until the very, very end. It was awesome.
Oh, really? I did not know this about you, Dave.
Yeah.
I did not know this.
It was a blast. It was a blast. And between that and working at the movie theater, that was so much fun.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Well, hey, again, to everybody in the chat who joined, thank you so much for both podcasts. Look, we appreciate you. We would not do this without you. We love to talk about movies here. We just love to talk about movies, man. It's fun, and these guys are my friends, so I could have a beer with these guys and we could talk movies for days, but you guys in the chat don't have days. So again, to those of you who hung with us for 2.5 hours, God bless you. Thank you so much. This was fun. I thank God for waking me up this morning and sending you guys in my path. Dave, Jordan, I cannot stress how much fun we have doing this. Looking forward to coming back next week and doing it again. Again, special thank you to my guy, Jack Spade, and my brother, Eric Parker, for giving my start in this business. Shout out to my little brother, Victor. I never shout him out, but he is my little brother. So, hey, shout out to you, Vic. Love you, man. You guys have an amazing day. We'll see you next week. Good night, everybody.
this town with your host T. Will, yeah, keeping it real. From the A to the screen, you can feel the thrill. Rolling with the classics, we're setting the pace, highlighting the magic of our soulful space. Got the vibe, got the crew, making it tight. When the screen lights up, everything feels right. Grab your popcorn, let's make it loud. It's movie time, ATL style. Stand proud. From the silver screen to the hearts we steal. Every frame we capture is the real deal. Talking premieres, where the stars align. ATL views, yeah, they really shine behind.
Oh, guys, good.